have inquired about how to do entire like backgrounds full of color. I've seen people, color in their entire background in order to get, with like a paintbrush tool in order to get a solid color. Whoa, how did that happen? I don't know. But the gradient tool and the paint bucket tool are both nested together, and those are the two I'm going to go over right now. And so paint bucket tool does just what you would expect it to do. It's going to paint and dump the entire color on there. And I have this on a new layer right now, and that's how it's dumping it on that entire page. Whatever color it's going to do is what color is on your foreground. So if you have a different color selected that you want to do, then you would just, like if that's on your background color, then you can dump that. Or you can double click on here and pick any sort of new color like so and dump that. I'll go back to my yellow here. Now, if you wanted to do a gradient for your background, like say in my auto example here, I could go onto this layer where I have my my blue here, and I could grab this gradient tool, and this one, very similar to how Illustrator is, you would draw the line based on where you want that gradient to go. So I can have it go from the bottom up, and now notice here, what I actually have is, let me go back over to this other page. So I have the circle one selected up here, and so your options up here really do matter. And so if I want a linear one, then I would click that. I don't know what you call this one. What does it say? Hover over it. Angle gradient. Ooh, fancy. This one is called a reflected gradient, so you got colors on each side. So obviously the longer line I draw, the more spread out that gradient's going to be. The shorter line I draw, the more condensed that's going to be. This one is more of like a diamond shape.
It's a kite.
Kite shape, diamond shape. Sounds good. So the, now, and you notice that it takes it from the colors that I have selected in my foreground and background. And so I can change that by just double clicking up here, and then I can adjust it with any of these presets. I can make it go from a color to transparent, which looks kind of cool. It's not doing it. Oh wait, maybe it is. Let me go on another layer. Yeah, so if I were to have this be against, let me do this one here. And say I were to have this be, oops, wrong layer. I then, so that's going to be transparent against whatever, okay, interesting. It's going to be transparent against, okay, so I can do that on multiple ones. That's cool. I never knew that. So you can do multiple of those gradients on top of there. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Anyways, let's go back to here. So again, you can double click on here, and then at this point you can also, say I were to grab this one, I can change these colors by just double clicking on there and then adjusting that color there. So I can also add more. Actually, I would, if you want to have more colors, I would just click one that has more colors and then go in and double click to modify the colors themselves. And then click OK, and then go for it. So, so that is the the gradient tool and the paint bucket tool. Did I talk about the paint bucket tool, or did I just? Okay. The other thing that this tool can do, so say that you have a photo, and it's going to, it can also dump paint based on the color that it notices. And so if I pick this yellow color, I can go in here and I can start to dump paint into those sections that are red. So it is kind of content aware. It is going to notice when colors switch. And so I would be able to go in here and kind of modify this. Now, notice that it has some flaws. It's not doing the best job of getting into every little nook and cranny within that that space. And so you're going to end up with kind of a very rough looking sort of piece. But that is something. So like, for example, if I go over to my Otto picture here, that's my dog's name.
Auto.
Otto. And it's going to dump the paint based again on color
Purple dog.
there. So you can make something look pretty funky if you work long enough at it. So,
Eyeball.
all right, why don't you try that out? The gradient tool and the paint bucket tool.